Hey everyone, Samir here again, and today's topic is going to be about the pregnancy and the way we had our child. I will share with our experience, and hopefully this answers some of your questions that you might have in your case as well. Ideally, you should plan your pregnancy, and the way you plan it is you need to take prenatal. In our case, my wife started taking prenatal around 6 months before pregnancy. That's how the baby will get the folic acid. Before they're even conceived, your body should already have the folic acid in it. So get the prenatal vitamins and start using them. And also, it's always good to make a medical checkup to make sure your health is in perfect condition. And if there are any issues, first fix those and then go with pregnancy, right? So after you're already learned that you're pregnant, you should directly call your doctor who will be taking care of your family, like your family doctor, and let them know that you're pregnant and share this good news with them, and they will arrange for a meetup and do different checks and also suggest you what to do further on. You should also start looking for a practitioner who will take care of your pregnancy. So it will not be your family doctor for the most part. It's usually a midwife or an OB-GYN. So OB-GYN is a doctor who has a lot of education, and he's allowed to do basically surgeries. If anything goes wrong in your pregnancy and you need an OB-GYN, they'll be there to do the surgery, right? And in case your pregnancy doesn't require surgery, it's just a normal pregnancy, then you are okay with midwife as well. The other difference is that when you go with OB-GYN, usually there are a lot more people who want to go with OB-GYN because they're more educated. After the delivery, for example, midwife can come to your house. OB-GYN will never come to your house, so you'll have to go to the hospital to see them. So it's more convenient. Basically, midwife is more friendly, more convenient. You can give birth even at home. You can give birth at Toronto Birth Center. But with OB-GYN, it's only in the hospital. And usually I read that there are more cases that end up going through surgery if you use OB-GYN. But that doesn't mean that it always happens. So our friends, they delivered the baby through OB-GYN, and it was a regular natural birth. So they didn't do any surgeries. Sometimes though I heard that, since they can do surgeries, it's easier for them to just do the surgery and get the baby out that way. So we were kind of scared because of this, so we decided not to go with OB-GYN. So then the next step is you decide to go with OB-GYN or midwife. What's next, right? So then if it is, let's say, a midwife or it's a OB-GYN, you should decide which hospital you want to deliver. So depending where you live, which one is closest, and then which one has the highest ranking, right? So you don't want to deliver in a hospital which has a very poor ranking or the rooms are in very bad condition. So make your research. There is a lot of people who share their opinions, and then you can understand that which hospital is a better one. Usually the best hospitals are located in areas with highest income, all right? So for example, in our case, we made the research and we found that in Toronto, two best hospitals, one is in downtown in the University Avenue, and the second one is Sunnybrook. And we decided to go with Sunnybrook because it was much closer to us, and we didn't want to drive in downtown during delivery, so I was like, I wanted to avoid downtown for as much as I can. So after deciding on Sunnybrook and deciding on the midwives, then we looked which midwives actually deliver in Sunnybrook Hospital. That's how we found the 7th generation midwives. That's how their name is. It's it's not a company, but it's like an organization. And they have their own website. You can go there, and there are a lot of midwives in that organization. Then we read each one's summary page, and they describe, about themselves. They share with their opinion about different issues, how they think about the pregnancy, and you can relate to one of them, right, more than the others. That's how we decided on the midwife that we wanted to work with. And then we also called several other hospitals, because it's not like you just call in and you just like pick midwife and they say, yeah, sure, let's go. Usually they will be booked. So most probably you won't get the midwife you want. In our case, though, we were just so lucky that we got exact same midwife we selected. That doesn't mean it will always happen. And the other places which we did not want, and it was like a backup plan for us, they were all booked out. So they called us and they said, look, we don't accept anyone else. We're all booked, So we just got super, super lucky, I guess, and with our midwife. So after you know your midwife, then the care transitions from your family doctor to the midwife. So they know all your records, they know all your history, they do the different ultrasounds, they do different checkups during your pregnancy, like every 2-3 weeks or every 1 month. The closer it is to pregnancy, the more often you meet with them. And usually the meetings, they take place at the Toronto Birth Center. Again, I'm talking about the Toronto experience, like people who live in other provinces or in other cities. It will be a different place, but probably you should have something like a birth center where people just deliver kids. And usually birth center is more intimate experience. It feels like you're at home, but you're not allowed to stay there for more than like 3-4 hours. So you just deliver a baby and you leave, right? Versus in hospital, you can stay there, you can get a private room for a few days, if you want somebody to take care of you there. In Toronto Birth Center, it will be just fast, So we didn't want to be in Toronto Birth Center for the main reason is, imagine if there is a complication during pregnancy. So imagine that the surgery is required immediately. So they cannot do it in this birth center. So they will call the ambulance, transport you to the nearest hospital and do the surgery there. So why go somewhere else when we can pick the hospital where this can happen, right? Where we would prefer that to take place, right? So it's also additional stress, driving in traffic, let's say. Take the worst scenario, right? So take that you're in peak hour delivering and it's hard to get anywhere, right? So that's why we decided that we wanted to be in the hospital, just in case something wrong happens. Before the birth, what you should do is you should obviously learn, like read about how to take care of the child. You can read different books. There are seminars you can listen to on YouTube. Your midwives can suggest you some of this material. And then you should get a child seat, because they will not let you out of the hospital without a child seat. So once you have the child seat, you should know how to strap it on, how to put it together, and get some sign, to put on the car that says, like baby in car, or something that will let people know that if you're driving crazy during the day of the birth, it's for a reason, right? So in my case, it was crazy. I was driving, I think, too fast that day. But we got there safely. Don't drive fast, please. Just take it slow, because even if you arrive there fast, they will not admit you very quickly. You will still waste a lot of time. So once you arrive at the hospital, there's usually a lot of parking spots right beside the entrance, specifically for people who are delivering. You should familiarize yourself before you even arrive into the hospital. Go there, see where the parking lot is, see where the entrance is. Get to know as much as you can. Also, it's always good to go with your wife or go with your husband, to the meetings with the midwives or the OB-GYN. So all the staff who will be assisting during the day of the delivery. So you familiarize yourself with them. They know you, you know them. And also, you should plan some things to take with you to the hospital. That's very important. In our case, we took a very large suitcase with everything we need, and also a backpack. So we took the pillows, snacks, food, drinks, anything that you like. anything that can relieve you of stress, tablet, tripod to film, your cell phone, obviously, anything that you want, you should take with you, some clothes. Because in the hospital they do give you this stuff, but it's not the same comfort, as if you are bringing it from your home. So imagine your favorite pillow, or it obviously feels much better than what you're gonna get in the hospital. Also take some things for the baby, so diapers, some clothes, anything that you would like to take with you. So then the day of the delivery, what happened is we weren't expecting that the birth to happen that day. It was, I think, 38 weeks and several days. So we were in Niagara Falls that day. We were just enjoying the view of the waterfall and energizing. And then we went to an Italian restaurant with our friends. We had a very nice lunch, and then we were coming on the way home. I think Diana started saying that, my wife's name is Diana. She started saying that I think she feels some contractions. I said, "Oh man, that's it. We're gonna have a baby today." And she's like, "No. The midwife said that it might just be nothing. It's just it might be just like few days away." I'm like, "No, I feel like it will be today." And as soon as we arrived home, the waters broke. I was a little bit freaking out because my wife was pretty prepared for all of this. And then we just called our midwife, and it goes to their pager. They call you back. We're like, "Okay, great. The waters broke. When should we come?" They're like, No. Wait. You guys don't come in now. The contraction should be around 4 or 5 minutes apart, and should be like that for an hour before you even arrive to the hospital, because we will not even admit you, right? So we waited basically for a long time. It was evening, and we went to the hospital the next day in the evening. So it was more than 24 hours that we were at home. So they actually came to visit us in the morning. They came to our home. They looked at my wife, and they gave her some suggestions of how to cope with pain and the other things. And then they just told us to wait. They told us not to come, right? So at the end of this day, the next day in the evening, we called and we said, "Look, we cannot wait any longer. We are coming now. Whether you admit us or you don't admit us, we're just gonna come." They're like, "Okay, come in now you're ready." So they will keep you until that point where you already, "Look, I'm coming anyways." So we came in. I was driving pretty fast. So we arrived, and then they admitted us. They gave us a nice room. The room was very big. It had a very big tub. I think some people even deliver babies in that tub. And then the room has this couch, leather couch, where it's extendable. I was using that couch, and then my wife was on the other bed for patients. And then there is a fridge. There's some other equipment, like medical equipment in there. It feels like a little bit like a home. I wasn't expecting it to be this good, but it was very nice hospital. I wasn't actually planning to even be there during delivery, because in our culture, men don't usually participate in this kind of things, and the same was with my father or people I know. None of them have participated in the birth process. But here in Canada, it's actually, I learned about it a lot. And the more I learned, the more I wanted to participate. But I just didn't know that I'll be so involved during the process. So, for example, when these midwives, during this pushing phase, they say different things like to motivate, the person. And I was also involved in that. And I felt very good about it, because you're the closest person, and who else should do it, right? A person who your wife doesn't even know. I don't think so, right? It's the best thing is if you do it yourself. So go there, participate, and you'll be the first person to welcome your child into this world. So it feels great. Um, there's also another thing you can do. We didn't do it. When the baby is born, you can save the umbilical cord, and you can save the blood that goes through the umbilical cord. And by storing that blood, in future they can treat some diseases with it. Currently, they can treat few types of cancer in case your child develops it in future. So they use the stem cells from that umbilical cord. And that stem cells, though, there should be enough stem cells. So the reason we didn't do it is we learned that it's actually just a business. So a lot of organizations, they run it. So they store your blood, child's blood, for years. But when the time comes to use it, a lot of people find out that the stem cells are not enough to treat the child. They still need more stem cells from other donors. So that's why a lot of people encourage not to store it, but just to donate it if you want to store it. Donate it so somebody else can use it. Because right now with stem cells you can cure a lot of diseases, but in future there might be even more diseases that can be cured by the stem cells. We decided not to do it. Basically, my wife convinced me that look, there's no point, and it's better for the child to get all the blood instead of cutting it as soon as the baby is born. So not letting them get the blood and using it, storing it for future. So also no guarantee that you can use it, and it's not cheap to store it. So we decided not to do it. But you guys can go and learn more about this. And please write down below what you think about this procedure, whether you would do it or no. It's personal choice for everyone, of course. So another thing is that we use the epidural, right? What's epidural is that it's a needle that goes into your spine, and it's connected to a drug. So that drug is used to calm the pain during birth. And then you're given certain amounts of that drug every 30 minutes automatically. It's injected into your spine. And then you're given a controller in your hand, so you can press it, and there's a limit to how many times you can press it, obviously, in a certain period of time. But each time you press, it will inject more drug, and it will affect immediately. So it's very good thing, actually, because it removes the pain completely. We knew about this, but we didn't do a lot of research, so we didn't know about the side effects. So when the time came that the pain was unbearable, and we just had to make a quick decision, and it was a little bit scary because we didn't know the side effects. And the side effects, I think, includes if they don't do it right, they can damage the nerve, and then you might lose all of your movement. You will not be able to move your hands, legs. It's pretty scary. So you can do your own research about this and decide, what will happen if pain is unbearable. Would you go with epidural or no? We went with it, and thank God it was good. But can you imagine doing it while sitting, and while person is having a contraction? It's pretty difficult, right, to stay steady. So because if they even manage to damage the nerve just a little bit, that's it. It was a very scary moment for us, but it went fine. So the baby was born around 30 hours after first contractions started the day before, and it was a little bit scary, actually, because when the baby was born, first there was a cord around the neck, which we didn't see during the ultrasound. And then when they took the baby out, she wasn't crying. So they put her on the mom, and then she didn't cry. So they took her right away to the station. They cut the cord, they put her to the station, and as soon as they put her on the table, she started to cry. So they didn't do anything to her. She started to cry herself. It was great. I thought that, they might have to do something to make her breathe, but she started breathing herself afterwards. So it was such a relief. I was crying, and we were so happy that she was born finally. We waited so long for this, and her name is Emilia, so it's Emilia Khalilova. Yeah, she's right now around 6 months, and her birthday is 27th of June. So yes, it was a lucky year for us. She's one of the COVID babies. So yeah, it was good in a way that even this year was difficult, for everybody, but at least we had some positive moments like this one. After the birth, we decided to head home. We were offered to stay there in the hospital, but we just were tired of the hospital. We just wanted to go home, and we just decided to leave. So we left right away. And when we came home, Simba was here. First, we gave him to smell her clothes. And then once he smelled it, we brought her in. He was so excited to see his small sister. She was just so tiny. We were scared to even hold her. She was so tiny. We never had this experience, and it was crazy, just to be able to care for somebody. And we didn't know if we were gonna do it right or no, but it's kind of natural instincts, they kick in, and you kind of do everything the way it should be done. The next day, the midwives, she actually arrived at our home, and she checked her, took blood samples, weighed her, so everything was fine with her. Just gave some ideas on how to help her latch and how to feed her. Yeah, so basically that's the whole experience. I hope I explained everything to you guys, and if you have any questions about this birth, obviously go consult with midwives or your family doctor. This is just to give you an overview of how it looks like. If you're just thinking about it, you don't want to still go to talk to the doctor yet, you haven't decided yet. This is just an overview for you to know. So that's all for today. Thanks a lot for watching. I wish you have a good day. Bye.